All right. All right, I believe we're live here now. Can people maybe in the chat section just give me an indication that you can hear me and see me? Give it a few seconds here. We have a small group for this, so while we're just waiting here for another minute or two, if you could just let me know if you're able to hear or see me right now. All right, one person said all good. Well, then I'll assume that everyone can hear and see me right at the moment. So we'll get started. This is the Butt Out program that's offered through STF, and this is the first of an 8-part series. And today is more just going to be an overview of the program, and just to see, if you are interested in quitting smoking, it'll be different than what would be offered directly on your base or wing. But at the end, I'll provide you with contact information for the health promotion managers at each base and wing if you want more personalized contact and support for quitting smoking. So just know that today is just more of an information session. There will be a couple questions throughout, and you can answer in the chat section. Or if you like, I can make your mic active or your webcam active, and we can have a chat. So before I get started, if anyone is interested and you are wanting to quit, I did include the participant manual for Butt Out in the resources section. On my screen, there's a little plus sign on the bottom right-hand corner with a 1, and if you click on that, I'm assuming that's what you see as well. You'll see that there is the participant workbook uploaded there in PDF format. So if you want that, it is there. If you can't see that, let me know, and then perhaps I can email that to you if you can't access it here. Someone said, oh, Tammy said I need to share it. Let me see here. Yeah, there we go. So I think it's shared at the moment. All right, we're good. So I'll share I have a presentation here, so we'll go through that, and there'll be some questions throughout. And it's starting at one of the last slides. Let's go to the first slide. I don't know why it's doing that. All right, there's slide 1. And someone says, hi, you need, and I'm not sure, tie-up. I'm not sure Cindy, what you mean by that. Maybe you could clarify. But I just want to know if you can see the handout. And I'm not, if you're trying to say I need to type. Anyway, we'll carry on here. And if you have any questions in the chat section, just let me know. So again, this is an overview of the program and just sort of confirming your commitment to quit tobacco, as the title implies. So this is the first module, like I said earlier, of 8. So over the next 8 Fridays, we're going to go through the Butt Out program, like I said, offered through STF, Strengthening the Forces. And this first module is just an overview of how Butt Out works. We're going to go through and ask a few questions. Why is it that you want to quit? What are some of the benefits to becoming tobacco-free? When we do the program normally, we would discuss with participants developing a schedule for quitting or for cutting down towards your quit day. Again, I'm not sure entirely who's on the line here, but we may, it's entirely up to you. And I think when you develop that strategy for cutting down to your quit day, it's better if you connect with your local wings or bases and with your health services department because we'll be talking as well about medications that you can get through your pharmacy at your base or wing. So that, in a nutshell, is sort of what we're going to talk about today. So overall, the Butt program, it's a program. It's to help you to become smoke-free, obviously. And by this, we'll provide you with a number of tools you can use, information, and support. It varies from base to base, wing to wing, in terms of the support that is provided. I know in Moose Jaw, we work with our pharmacy, and people who want to quit, we as health promotion, we provide email support to people who want to quit, and on an ongoing basis, if they need to contact us, that is what we would do. And so that's sort of the overall goal of the Butt Out program. And of course, quitting, it's just a little slide here, to quit smoking is the easiest thing I ever did. And as he says there, I ought to know because I've done it 1,000 times. So quitting smoking, it's definitely not a one-time thing. You can definitely relapse and start smoking again, and that's perfectly fine. It's just keep trying. And hopefully at some point down the road, you are able to quit, but don't be discouraged if you try to quit. And maybe there's people here who have smoked before, quit, and now are smoking again. I don't know if anyone wants to elaborate on that, or in the chat, if has anyone currently smoking or quit in the past or have multiple quit attempts? I'll just wait a second if anyone wants to answer that question, if you've had multiple quit attempts or if this is your first time looking to quit smoking. I guess we have a small and quiet group. That's perfectly fine. You can just listen to what I have to say. But again, if you have any comments, just type them in on the chat section. So the program as well, all programs, and this program does have a combination of approaches, a variety of techniques that are used. We do provide support. There's medication that you can get through your pharmacy, a lot of informational resources, so advice we can provide, motivation, and that's what I mentioned. I'm in Moose Jaw. I was in Halifax prior to this, and we're sending motivational sort of information or just encouraging people to keep up with the quit attempt. That's another good way. Or some people will use that as a way to just stay on track. Cognitive behavior. There's some therapies out there. As a group in health promotion, we don't provide that one type of one-on-one cognitive behavioral type therapy, but it is another part of the technique of quitting smoking that can be used. So a combination. So we try to use a combination of support, medication, providing advice, and motivation in order to help people to quit smoking. So the basics of the Butt Out program. So tobacco use is an addiction to nicotine, so we want to have people understand that. I'm not going to go into all the negative effects of nicotine and what that can do to your body and so forth. I think as a society in general, we're very much versed on the negative effects of smoking. So I'm not going to belabor that and go into that anymore, because like I said, I think we're all aware of that. There are, I left it in 11. There's lots of reasons why, for tobacco use, why you want to do that. We will explore that. Look at some strategies for developing like a quit attempt, what it means to develop those strategies to substitute for tobacco. Understanding that quitting is a process, it's not an event, so it does something that takes place over time. And like I said, you can relapse and so forth. This is a self-managed program, so it's entirely up to you. We provide the support and the motivation in order to quit, and the social support that we offer, it's throughout this entire process. As a participant, you develop personalized alternatives, so sort of looking for ways, what can you replace smoking with, as something to sort of keep your mind off of smoking, and just to occupy your time, because we think about smoking a lot of times it's a time to take a break or it's to socialize. So are there other things that you can sort of put in place in order to alleviate that urge to smoke? Receiving that social support, so we can provide that support, but also if you have you're in your network, your social support network, people who can help you with that. Now, having said that, probably the people that are in your social support network are people who smoke. So that can be a very difficult one to address if your social support is from other smokers. So again, looking for alternatives. And of course, the objective for you would be to quit and remain tobacco-free, or at least learn some skills so that if you do relapse in your next quit effort, you can try again. So understanding what those skills are and what are some successful strategies that you can use to quit smoking. Some of those strategies that we'll talk about in this 8-part series involve things like discussing medications, which we'll discuss a little bit at the end today, looking at physical activity, how that can be used, relaxation, helper support, rewarding yourself when you are along this process and are successfully quitting, sort of controlling those thoughts, so the thoughts that might pop into your head as you are quitting, or that urge to smoke, how you can stop those thoughts. Also looking at weight management. And then we'll look at things like developing a blueprint for quitting smoking, as well as plotting. So sort of just pinpointing some of those reasons as to why you're smoking, and looking at alternatives, testing them, and training yourself so that those alternatives become part of your daily life as opposed to smoking. As I mentioned earlier, this is a self-managed program. We provide the support, but it is entirely up to you. If you use the participant workbook, there's a lot of strategies and things you can go back to, ways of recording that I'll discuss briefly today that can help you on the road to quitting. As an example, so here's a sort of a typical try, this person named Jim, of quitting smoking. I'll just read it quickly here. So Jim is a pack-a-day smoker. He made New Year's resolutions, small bets with friends, and has been hypnotized to try to stop. Each time Jim would hang on for a couple of days. Once he stayed quit for more than 2 months, but he always started again. His last attempt was typical. After 3 weeks of not smoking, Jim went to happy hour. Gord offered him a smoke, shoving an open pack into his hand. He exhaled deeply in Jim's direction as he said, "There, that's more like it, Jim. You look like your old self again." The smell was great. First, Jim vowed he'd have just one, but that promise died when he bought his own pack the next day. So again, this sort of talks about the process of quitting smoking and sort of some of the influences in your social circle that may make it difficult for you to quit smoking. I don't know if anyone wants to share a story. Again, I can make your mic live if you like. If people have tried to quit before, or maybe you can give me a thumbs up if this story sounds typical to any quit attempts that you might have tried in the past. I'll just wait a second if anyone wants to talk, or give me the thumbs up that this is a typical story that you might find or that you've experienced in your quit attempt. So Tammy said this is something that you hear often. All right, I'll move on. Again, share at any point along this presentation. Marielle says many people I know have that same type of experience as Jim that was just talked about. All right. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Well, actually, it's just one question, but there's sort of 3 sub-questions, as you can see on the slide here. And if there are reasons, if you are currently, so I guess, well, I'm not sure who is a smoker here or who is just looking in to maybe help someone else who is quitting smoking, or maybe you're just for interest. But in turn, interest, trying to understand what are your reasons for quitting smoking. And so when you think about that, ask yourself these 3 questions. So what are some of the things you value most in your life? How does your smoking link to these values? And how does quitting smoking link to these values? So just to think about those, but what are some reasons that either you want to quit smoking, or that you've heard people say as to why they want to quit smoking? So again, in the chat, if you want to type in a couple reasons as to why you want to quit smoking or why you think people want to quit smoking. Be around for grandkids. So definitely there's long-term health consequences to smoking. And as we get older and our kids start to have kids, you definitely want to be there for your grandchildren. So that's a really good reason to quit smoking. Save money. It definitely does save money. And there's a slide that I have here in a couple minutes that will show that over the year you can save actually quite a bit of money, even if you're just, well, not just, but if you are smoking a pack a day. Anybody else want to provide any other reasons for quitting smoking? All right, I will move on then. And this next slide, if you maybe haven't thought of any other reasons, provides, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not. It's a table that is also in the participant manual, but health reasons is a good reason to quit smoking. So you can see there that how smoking links. I get for health, people who smoke get more colds, things like that, and as a result of quitting, you could reduce the amount of colds or illness that you have. So as an example there, at work, smoking links at work, so you might lose concentration. This is there when I have a cigarette, so that can have an impact. So if you're quitting, maybe your concentration improves, your performance at work might improve, and so forth. So there's many, many reasons. I'm not going to go through that entire list. It is in the participant manual, so you can look at that. But there are lots and lots of reasons to quit smoking. All of them will have positive benefits. And if you look, there's a lot of the experience can be different. It's definitely different for everyone in terms of the benefits of quitting smoking. So just take note of the benefits for you, whether it's because of your family reasons, saving money, health reasons. There's a lot of benefits of not smoking. Here are some benefits here in terms of health-wise as well. I will sleep more soundly. Sports performance will improve, more pocket change, so again, saving money. A lot of good reasons, maybe not being short of breath. There is a program that we're going to be promoting a little bit later, in addition to Butt Out, but the walk and run to quit program that we're teaming up. I believe it's with I'm going to get this wrong, but I think it's with either the Lung Association or the Canadian Cancer Society. So that is a program that when you are, say, for example, walking and running and you quit smoking, you see the benefits of quitting smoking a lot quicker. You're able to have more breath if you're running, and the benefits of that are really evident very early on. So there's a lot of reasons, a lot of benefits to quitting smoking. Here are some other health benefits. So health and energy. And I'm realizing now I put these tables in here and I'm having a hard time reading them. But again, as time goes on, I mean, from the first 20 minutes, you notice the difference in your lung capacity. Carbon monoxide after 6 hours, it says there, returns to normal just after 8 hours. Your carbon monoxide returns to normal. So benefits of quitting smoking are evident very early on. And as you go along, down hours, years, and so forth, the health benefits to your lungs, to your heart, your life expectancy increases. So there is a lot of benefits to your health and energy levels that will help you to quit smoke, or that you'll see as those benefits when you do quit smoking. Insurance premiums is another benefit to quit smoking. Insurance companies, if I think there's even a question they'll ask you on life insurance, things like that, health insurance, if you are a smoker. And if you are a smoker, your insurance premiums will be higher than someone who is not a smoker. Not saying that's always the case, but you may qualify for a reduction in life insurance policy. Again, it depends on your age. It says their policy amount, the company. So that is just another possible benefit, another way of saving money if you are quitting smoking because of that benefit on insurance. And here's what we talked about, or what I mentioned earlier about your pocket change. So the price, I think a price of a pack of cigarettes is a lot higher than $9.50. It's probably double that right now. But just with that, if you're a pack a day and it did cost $9.50 for a pack of cigarettes, you'd save about $3,500 a year. So you can imagine cigarettes right now probably double that. You'd save even more, around $6,000 or $7,000 a year. So that's another benefit of of quitting smoking. There's also benefits to others. So the secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke, as it says there, can cause cancer, heart disease, a whole slew of effects, infections, ear infections in children. So you're not only improving your quality of life, you're improving the quality of life of others around you when you are quitting smoking. And then there's something called third-hand smoke. So the smoke that gets into like furniture or materials, so that can be in there, and that can actually have an impact on others when you aren't, even if you're not smoking directly in front of them, it can get into the materials and furniture and clothes, and that could have an impact on other people as well. So when we do this course, normally we ask people then, after we go through and give them examples of some of the reasons why you'd want to quit and what those benefits are, we would ask them, what are your reasons for quitting smoking? So again, I'm not sure if I have any smokers on the line here or not, but after going through that list and thinking about it a little bit, what are some of the reasons that you would want to quit? A silent group. There's only a few of you on the line, so that's fine. So again, just think back if you are looking to quit smoking, what those reasons are based on what I just talked about. But you may have others as well as to why it is that you want to quit smoking. Now, we're not asking people to, and it's actually probably not the best idea just to quit cold turkey, but rather to cut back gradually. Not that if people cannot quit cold turkey or just cut it off altogether right away. My grandfather, he smoked all his life until he was 70 years of age, and then he decided he was going to quit smoking, and he quit just altogether, no cigarettes, and he stayed smoke-free then for the rest of his life. But that's probably more of the exception than the rule. So what we ask people to do is to cut back gradually by about 1 cigarette per day. And this is based on our program of, over 14 days, saying cutting back or until your quit day. I guess it doesn't necessarily be 14 days, but that's what's recommended. But just cutting back 1 cigarette a day. So as it says there, it's recommended to not cut back to below 10 cigarettes a day until you get to quit day, then go directly to 0. So once you get to about 10 cigarettes a day, it's easier to go to 0 than if you just cut back. If you cut back immediately, say you're smoking 20 a day, and then trying to quit would be a lot harder. You may think cutting down to 10 is too drastic, especially if you're a smoker, or you may choose not to cut down at all before quitting. And that's perfectly fine, but at least trying to get used to smoking a bit less as time goes on. And then as you get to that quit day, then that's when you get to 0. So that's what's recommended. Again, it's not recommended to cut back so much that you're having those strong physical cravings for cigarettes. And then this here it'll mask those other reasons you have for smoking that you should be recording. So if we were to do this program, we get people to record over the week those reasons you have for smoking. So that craving that exists. And then as you cut down, we ask people to resist the temptation to smoke, whether it's those remaining cigarettes more intensely, so not inhaling deeply, or taking more frequent puffs, or taking that cigarette down further than you normally would. So just maintain your regularly smoking pattern, cut back gradually, and then as you get close to that quit day, that's when you would cut out the cigarettes altogether. So it's a gradual process. So this whole process of quitting smoking happens over time, and it's something you need to be aware of all the things you may be experiencing as you are quitting smoking. So here's an example here, starting on day 14. So you would record, and this is something we would give to participants during the Bud Out program, record the number of cigarettes you usually smoke per day. And then each day you cut back by 1 cigarette. Or, maybe you want to do 2, but 1's what's recommended, but just keep cutting back until you get to 0, which would be your quit day. And again, it's not saying that on the final day 1 before quit day, that you are at 1 and then you go to 0. You could be at 10 and then go to 0. But that gradual cutting back of cigarettes, and this is just a useful little table here that you could use in order to record your smoking over the 10-day or 14-day period. Any questions so far as I'm kind of going through this quickly here with a small group, and there hasn't been a lot of interaction or questions, but we're good. All right. So another question that people ask is, will medication help when you are having a quit attempt? Nicotine is addictive, and you're going to experience physical withdrawal when you do quit smoking. So, the symptoms are mild, others can be really intense. It does vary. So the question of, will medication help? Yes. And there are medications that are available, different nicotine replacement therapies. You can get it in the drugstore, whether it's gum or the patch. And there's other types of drugs that you can get through your pharmacist, Zyban, Champix, and things like that can help. So there's a variety of medications that can help to sort of reduce those cravings of cigarettes, those physical withdrawal symptoms that you will have. And they are very helpful. Military members can obtain these treatments. They're free of charge under certain conditions. And if you look at the medical services instruction, that will give you more information about accessing that medication. It may be a little bit more difficult right now, depending on the base and wing that you're at, but definitely you could reach out to your health services department, or you may have to, if their pharmacy is not open currently on our bases or wings, then you could go into the community and get that nicotine replacement therapy or drugs, prescription drugs that you might need. And this is all, you might say, well, I want to quit smoking, and so then why should I go on medication or use nicotine replacement therapy? And this is what we call the water wings theory. So, you think about someone swimming. You're learning to swim. You're not going to throw someone into the pool if they have no idea how to swim. You might want to put those little water wings on your arms in order to stay afloat. And that's the same thing with quitting smoking. So it's not like a failure or anything like that if you are using nicotine replacement therapy or prescription drugs. It's more so just that, those water wings will hold you up. It gives you the confidence you need. The example here, practice swimming. In this case, practice quitting smoking. So it just gives you that little more confidence, so that you eventually can become smoke-free and then not even need the nicotine replacement therapy or prescription drugs in order to quit smoking. So there is that. Medications will help. It's there as support. So another support mechanism to help you to quit smoking. I went through that really quickly. I did mention, I'll just put this up here before I see if there's any other questions. I did mention at the beginning that, I'm just providing this over the next 8 weeks in terms of information. What you should be doing is contacting directly your base or wing in order to get more information and more support for your quit smoking attempt. And so I'll just put this up here. This is just a list Since the Butt Out program is offered through the health promotion program on Bases and Wings, your health promotion managers would be a direct line of contact. Of course, we're all working, or for the most part, working from home right now. So these are the emails that your health promotion manager, their contact information at your individual Bases and Wings. I don't see Winnipeg on there. Oh, there's Winnipeg. There's Diane. So if you're in Winnipeg, Diane Bryan is your contact, and then I'll just go back here, all the other contacts. So I'll leave that up there for a second if you are interested. But I would encourage you over the next few weeks to just, if you want to check in and see what I'm presenting on. We are going to talk a bit more next Friday just about sort of that plan for starting to quit smoking and look at that a bit further. And in subsequent weeks, we're going to talk about how physical activity relates to quitting smoking, maintaining your weight, different things like that, and just more on an informational basis to help you on your road to quitting smoking. So with that, are there any questions that you might have? All right, well, I mean, if there are, oh, let's just say one new message. Oh, just thank yous, which is great. You're welcome. I shouldn't say just thank yous. So again, that's just a really quick overview about the program. If you are interested in the webinars over the next 8 weeks, definitely join in. If you're looking to quit smoking, contact your local base or wing health promotion manager, and they can give you more direct support. But key to all this is just remind yourself often of your reasons to quit smoking. That is sort of the basis of the program, is just what are your reasons, and just always reminding yourself why it is you want to quit. So thank you very much for your time, and someone said enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend as well, and hopefully I'll either see you, or if you know of other people who would benefit from these information sessions, let them know. It's the same time again next Friday. And if there are no other questions, thanks again. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk soon.